You are now entering a place without light, without noise, a space made only for rest. This is Dark Dreams, where stories unfold in silence. Close your eyes, let the world fade, and drift with us into the quiet ruins of Lirion. There was once a place known only in whispers, a kingdom called Lirion, wrapped in silver mist and forgotten time. A land hidden between twilight and memory, where the stars fell closer to the earth and the wind hummed lullabies through marbled arches and vine-wrapped towers. Lirion was not built on conquest nor carved through fire. It was shaped by dreamers, sculptors of silence, those who listened more than they spoke, who painted the air with songs too soft to hear, and walked barefoot over gardens that grew without planting, their roots drinking from wells of moonlight, their petals opening only when the night sky wept. Time passed differently in Lirion, for it was never counted in hours or days, but in the sigh of trees and the hush of snowfall, the slow drift of shadows across sun-dappled marble, and the gentle folding of one season into the next like silk into silk. The people of Lirion lived slowly and deeply, with hearts open like windows, and every soul there held a music within them, not the kind sung aloud, but the kind that made flowers turn their heads and birds lower their wings in reverence. And yet, even in such a place of softness and stillness, a shadow once came, not as a war, not as a storm, but as something quieter and colder, a hush that turned hope into echo, that hollowed out laughter and left only the shape of it behind. It began with a silence in the gardens, when the night blooming flowers forgot to open, and the breeze no longer carried scent. Then it reached the fountains, where the waters began to fall slower still, until even their gentle splash was no more than memory. The people of Lirion began to dream less, then not at all, their eyes dulled like unlit lanterns, their hands growing still at their sides. They no longer sculpted or wandered or listened to the sky, for the music inside them had grown faint and then vanished. No one remembered why, and perhaps there was no reason, for the sadness came, not from without, but from within, like a mist that rose from the soul, curling around thought, draping itself over emotion, until all that remained was a soft ache, unnamed and unspoken. It was as if the heart of Lirion itself had grown weary, tired from too many years of carrying beauty, of holding so much tenderness that it had nothing left to give. The towers stood untouched, the halls remained clean and whole, but the air inside them felt forgotten, as though even time had turned away, and no voices called down the stone corridors anymore. The libraries remained full, every book still resting in its place, but no hand reached to turn the pages, and no eye traced the words, for the stories had grown too heavy, too quiet, their meanings slipping like mist through the fingers of memory. No fires burned, yet nothing froze, no storms rose, yet nothing grew. Lirion did not fall, it faded. One by one, the people became still, like statues carved from moonlight, sitting in their gardens, standing beside their windows, lying under canopies of ivy, their eyes half open but seeing nothing, as if they were listening for something that never came. Some say their bodies dissolved into the mist. Others say they simply slept and never woke again. and some whisper that they remain. In places the world has forgotten, dreaming with open eyes in a place where no time passes. Now the city is hidden by forests that hum with ancient sorrow, where vines grow over balconies like woven stories, and moss cradles the feet of crumbling statues, softening every edge. The air there is still, not empty, but full of something unspoken, a hush so deep it feels sacred, like the breath held between one heartbeat and the next. Those who wander close do not hear birdsong, nor running streams, but a soft hum, like a lullaby sung in a language long lost. And those who stay too long begin to forget their names, their tasks, the reason they came. For Lirion does not call out, it simply waits, like a dream that wishes to be remembered. Some wanderers have returned, and they speak of empty marble halls lit by skylight, of statues that weep dew, of rooms where the dust dances in patterns that resemble forgotten alphabets. They describe paintings that change when you look away, of reflections in the fountain that do not match your face, and of voices like wind through crystal, whispering names that were never yours, yet feel like home. One man sat beneath a dead tree for 3 days, unmoving, and, when he came back, his hair had turned to silver and he spoke in verses, but not in any known tongue. He wrote songs in inkless books and smiled without cause. His eyes full of things no one else could see. That a woman claimed she walked into the heart of the city and found a garden blooming with light, where every flower pulsed with breath, and in its center stood a figure of stone, with tears carved down its cheeks and hands held open, as if it had once held the sun and let it go. That no one knows if the people of Lirion can be woken, if they even wish to be. Perhaps their sadness was not a curse but a calling, a soft surrender to stillness, the final note in a song that had always known it would fade. But those who visit say that Lirion is not a ruin, not truly. It is a silence with shape, a memory with roots. It is what remains when the world forgets how to dream, and yet hopes to remember again. The sky above it is always twilight, as if the sun has paused just below the horizon, waiting for permission to rise again. The trees lean inward as if to listen, and the stones are warm as if they remember being held. There is no fear there, only softness, only the hush of something once great and beautiful that chose to close its eyes rather than break. Perhaps the city will wake again, when someone arrives who can carry its sadness with love, who can sit in its gardens and listen without asking, who can brush dust from the carvings without needing to own them. Until then, Lirion waits, wrapped in mist, held in the quiet breath between stars, a place of stillness, of sorrow, of beauty untouched by time, a sanctuary for silence. And as you drift into sleep, you may find yourself walking there, barefoot on soft stone, past arches that whisper when you pass, your heartbeat slowing to match the pulse of the place. You might sit beside a still fountain, see your reflection ripple and change, and feel something ancient look back at you, not with eyes, but with memory. Perhaps you will hum a melody you do not know, one the wind remembers, and the vines will move just slightly, in time with your breath. And in that quiet, you might not find answers, but you may feel peace, the peace of letting go, of resting where the world no longer asks. where your sadness is not a weight, but a song sung softly into the night. And so, the story continues not with an ending, but with a hush, not a goodbye, but a breath. And somewhere in the quiet ruins of Lirion, the dream lingers, waiting for one more listener, one more heart to hold the silence gently. And sleep, sleep now, and let the mist rise around you, soft and silver. Let the quiet cradle your thoughts. Let the rhythm of stone and wind carry you deeper, slower, softer still. Let Lirion take you, not to keep, but to rest, not to change, but to hold. And in this stillness, may you find a forgotten part of yourself, waiting beneath the hush, waiting to bloom again. And now, the night wraps around you like velvet. The stars blink, slower, and your breath becomes the only sound you need. As the story fades, like mist into mist and sleep,